Captain Ethan Cole had seen many strange worlds, but nothing had prepared him for the silent ruin of this one. The planet orbiting a dying sun looked abandoned from orbit. Scorched towers reached toward the sky, shimmering strangely in the dim light. Ethan's cargo ship shuddered as it descended through the thin atmosphere. He had been following a weak distress signal, barely detectable, and now it seemed to lead him to this desolate place. As he landed near the ruined village, a sense of unease settled in him. The wind carried faint noises, creaks of broken metal, whispers of the past. Ethan stepped out of his ship, boots crunching over the uneven ground. The air smelled metallic and sharp, not toxic, but strange enough to remind him that this was no human settlement. The buildings, or what remained of them, were unlike anything Ethan had seen. They were tall, spiraling structures made of a glowing, semi-transparent material. They pulsed faintly, almost as if the city itself had a heartbeat. Ethan crouched low, his hand on the grip of his plasma pistol, scanning for any movement. Silence answered him, but the faint hum of the building suggested life, or something like it, had once existed here. It was then that he noticed the sack. Partially hidden beneath rubble, its coarse fabric was torn in places. Something moved inside it. Ethan froze. His instincts told him to be cautious, but curiosity and concern pushed him forward. "Hello?" he called softly, kneeling beside the sack. A small, fragile voice whispered, "Daddy." Ethan's eyes widened. He carefully untied the sack, revealing a tiny creature. The infant alien looked unlike any species he had seen before. Its skin was pale blue, smooth, and almost luminous. Its head was slightly larger than a human baby's, with wide, dark eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. Tiny fingers reached toward him, curling around his gloved hand. The baby's voice, a faint murmur of syllables, repeated, "Daddy." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had faced pirates, mercenaries, and alien raiders, but nothing prepared him for the helplessness and trust in a small voice like this. He lifted the infant gently, feeling a surprising warmth. The baby's body was fragile, its breathing shallow but steady. His mind raced. Why had the aliens left it here? Was this baby the last of its kind, or had it been abandoned for another reason? The settlement bore signs of destruction. Scorch marks, shattered technology, and signs of a battle. Ethan realized with growing dread that the baby's family had likely been killed in a sudden attack. Whoever had left it in this sack hadn't thought it would survive. Ethan checked the surroundings quickly. Shadows moved in the distance, alien shapes larger than the child. He kept his voice low. "Don't worry, little one. I won't let anything happen to you." The infant seemed to understand, resting its tiny head against his shoulder. Ethan gently adjusted the sack to keep the baby safe as he made his way back to the ship. Every step was tense. He knew that if the aliens returned, he could face trouble. But leaving the baby was not an option. Back inside the ship, he secured the child in the cabin. He removed his helmet and looked at it closely. Its eyes were enormous, reflecting the faint lights of the control panels. There was a spark in them, a quiet intelligence that seemed almost human. The baby's fingers twitched, reaching for his hand again. Ethan smiled softly. "We're going to be okay," he whispered. For hours, he tried to communicate. The baby made soft cooing noises, some resembling words, others just sounds of contentment. Ethan found himself fascinated, watching how it moved, how it reacted to his voice. Somehow, this tiny creature had survived against all odds. Somehow it had chosen him, or at least it seemed that way. Sleep was impossible. Ethan kept one eye on the scanners while the baby rested on a soft blanket. Occasionally, a flicker on the long-range monitor indicated movement near the settlement. He clenched his jaw. Whoever had abandoned this child might be coming back, and if they did, it would not be to rescue it. By the time the ship lifted off the planet, Ethan had formed a plan. He would take the baby to the nearest human outpost. There he could find help, protection, and maybe some answers. As the planet faded beneath him, the baby made a tiny sound, a soft, happy murmur that made Ethan's chest tighten. It sounded almost like a laugh. The journey through space was tense. The child seemed to sense danger, and would cling to him when alarms or sudden movements shook the ship. Ethan often found himself talking to it, narrating every action he took. "We're going to be safe," he told it. "I promise." At one point, the baby whispered again, "Daddy." Ethan felt a surge of emotion. That single word, fragile and pure, struck something deep in him. He had always been a loner, used to relying on himself. But this child had awakened a part of him he didn't know existed. Protecting it was no longer a choice. It was a mission, a purpose that felt bigger than anything he had ever done. As they approached the human outpost, the tension increased. Ethan scanned the area for threats. Small, stealthy ships appeared on the sensors, likely sent by whoever had abandoned the child. He tightened his grip on the controls, his mind racing with possibilities. If they attacked, he would have to defend not just himself but the baby too. The outpost appeared as a cluster of domes and towers, humming with activity. Ethan's relief was tempered by caution. He would need allies, people who could provide medical care and shelter for the infant. The challenge was clear. In a galaxy that often feared and fought against the unknown, could humanity rise to protect the helpless? As he docked the ship, the baby stirred, making soft sounds of recognition. Ethan lifted it gently and whispered, "We're almost home. Just a little longer." The outpost staff stared in surprise when they saw the tiny alien. Some were curious, others wary, but Ethan's calm confidence and the baby's obvious trust in him slowly won them over. A medic carefully examined the child, noting its delicate but stable condition. "This species, it's remarkable," the medic said quietly. "I've never seen anything like it, and you've kept it safe." Ethan simply nodded. "It called me Daddy. I can't just leave it out there." The baby, now in his arms, looked up at him and cooed, reaching for his face. Ethan smiled despite the exhaustion. In that moment, he understood something profound. Courage and compassion could transcend species, and even the smallest life could inspire great bravery. As night fell over the outpost, Ethan sat in a quiet corner, the baby asleep in his arms. He thought of the planet they had left behind and the dangers that still lurked in the galaxy. But for the first time in years, he felt hope. Humanity's strength was not only in weapons or technology, but in the ability to protect, to care, and to act even when the odds seemed impossible. And in the quiet of that moment, the baby whispered one last time before sleep took it. "Daddy." Ethan held it closer, feeling the bond grow stronger. Whatever challenges awaited them, he knew he would face them. This tiny life had changed him, had awakened something in him that no battle or danger ever could. And for the first time, he understood that being human meant more than surviving. It meant protecting, loving, and rising above fear no matter the cost. Outside, the stars glittered cold and distant, but inside the cabin, a small voice in a human heart had found something far more powerful. Trust, hope, and the beginning of a life that could change the galaxy forever. The human outpost was quiet, but tension hung in the air like electricity. Captain Ethan Cole had never felt anything like it. Every glance at the stars made him wonder if the alien fleet that had sent the baby's original captors would arrive soon. The baby, wrapped safely in a soft blanket, slept peacefully in his arms, oblivious to the looming danger. Ethan stood on the observation deck, scanning the horizon. "We need to be ready," he muttered to himself. "If they come, it won't be small ships. It will be an armada." Inside the outpost, the staff worked quickly. The medics examined the baby, checking its health, while engineers reinforced the perimeter and security systems. Many were unsure about harboring an alien child, but Ethan's calm, confident presence and the way the baby responded to him gradually won their trust. During the preparations, the baby stirred, lifting its tiny head and looking up at Ethan with those enormous, trusting eyes. It made a soft sound that almost resembled a laugh. Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. "We'll protect you," he whispered. "I promise." Hours passed, and just as the twin suns of the planet began to set, sensors picked up movement. A fleet of sleek alien ships appeared on the horizon, moving fast, scanning for the outpost. Ethan's heart pounded. These were no ordinary scouts, they were hunting for the child. "Everyone, positions!" Ethan shouted. The outpost came alive with activity. Humans armed themselves, positioning behind barricades, while engineers activated defense systems. Ethan checked on the baby one last time. It had awakened and was looking around, clutching his finger with surprising strength. The alien ships descended quickly, firing pulses of energy that lit up the sky. Ethan's squad returned fire, using the outpost's defensive turrets. The first wave of alien ships was fierce, but the humans fought with determination, improvising and using their knowledge of the terrain. Amid the chaos, the baby made a soft hum. Ethan froze, noticing the effect immediately. The energy pulses from the alien ships wavered, flickering as if the hum interfered with their systems. His eyes widened. The child, fragile as it was affecting the technology of the attackers. "Stay close to me," Ethan whispered, realizing that the baby was not just a helpless infant. It had abilities they couldn't fully understand yet. He maneuvered through the control panels, coordinating the defense while holding the child securely. The outpost staff followed his lead, inspired by his courage and calm under pressure. The aliens regrouped, sending in smaller attack craft to try and breach the perimeter. Ethan anticipated their moves, guiding the humans strategically. Each time the enemy fired, the baby hummed and the attacks misfired or lost precision. It was subtle, but it was enough. Humanity's determination, combined with the baby's mysterious power, began to turn the tide. In the heat of the battle, Ethan found himself running toward a damaged turret. The alien attackers were advancing, and without the turret, the defense would fail. He climbed up quickly, the baby in his arms, dodging energy blasts that scorched the walls nearby. With careful precision, he activated the turret just in time to repel the attackers. The alien ships, unprepared for this combination of human ingenuity and the baby's unknown ability, started retreating. One by one, they vanished into the darkness of space. The outpost was safe for now. Ethan gently laid the baby down on a soft bed. It cooed, reaching for his face. He smiled, exhausted but relieved. "We did it," he said softly. The baby responded with a faint, happy murmur, as if it understood. The aftermath of the attack left the outpost in shock. Damaged turrets, scorched walls, and spent energy cells were scattered everywhere. But among the humans, a sense of pride and hope grew. They had faced a superior enemy and survived. And they had done so because of courage, intelligence, and compassion, the core of humanity. Ethan walked through the outpost corridors, observing the reactions of the staff. Some were still in disbelief at the baby's abilities. Others were inspired by how humans had worked together, protecting the innocent against impossible odds. One engineer approached him quietly. "Captain," she said, "I think we underestimated what humans can do. That baby, it would not have survived without us, and we wouldn't have survived without you." Ethan nodded, his thoughts still on the child. He realized that protecting life, no matter the form, was humanity's strength. The galaxy could be vast and dangerous, filled with powerful beings and threats beyond imagination. But humans had something unique: determination, courage, and the ability to act for what was right. Days passed, and the outpost slowly returned to normal. The baby thrived under human care, growing stronger and more alert each day. Ethan spent almost all his time with it, teaching it simple gestures and sounds and responding to its curious expressions. The bond between them deepened. Every time the child whispered, "Daddy," Ethan felt a responsibility heavier than any weapon or strategy he had ever known. One evening, while the twin suns set in brilliant shades of red and gold, Ethan held the baby outside on the observation deck. He looked out at the stars, thinking about the planets they had yet to explore and the dangers that waited. But he also felt hope. "Somewhere out there," he said softly, "there are others who might try to take you, but I'll be ready, and we'll face it together." The baby responded with a small hum and reached out to touch Ethan's face. He smiled, feeling the connection stronger than ever. It was more than protection. It was trust, love, and hope combined into a single fragile being. Ethan realized that humanity's strength wasn't just in weapons or technology. It was in the ability to protect the helpless, to rise above fear, and to act when it mattered most. The galaxy could be cruel, but humans had something no other species seemed to fully grasp: courage born from compassion. As the night deepened, Ethan gazed at the stars, knowing their journey was only beginning. The baby slept peacefully in his arms, its soft breathing a reminder that even in the darkest corners of the universe, life could survive. Humanity had faced countless threats, but this small blue infant had shown them something greater than strategy or strength. That trust, hope, and determination could change the tide of any battle. Suddenly, the scanners picked up faint signals in the distance, small ships approaching but not hostile. Ethan tensed, ready for anything. The baby stirred slightly as if sensing the new arrivals. But when the ships drew closer, he realized they were friendly human reinforcements from another outpost, arriving after tracking the initial distress signal. Relief washed over Ethan. Help had arrived and the baby would be even safer. The outpost staff greeted the newcomers, explaining the situation, and together they reinforced the defenses. Yet Ethan knew that danger could return at any moment. He kept the child close, whispering softly. "Don't worry," he said. "No matter what comes, we'll face it together." The baby cooed, responding with the same trust that had first captured Ethan's heart. In that moment, the captain understood something profound. Life, even the smallest life, had value beyond measure. Humans, despite being small in a galaxy filled with powerful aliens, had the ability to protect, to inspire, and to rise above fear. That was humanity's gift. Weeks later, the outpost became a sanctuary, a place where the child could grow safely. Scientists and medics studied the baby carefully, learning about its unique abilities while respecting its trust in Ethan. And through it all, the bond between human and alien grew stronger. Ethan often thought about the day he first heard the tiny voice whisper, "Daddy." At the time, he had no idea what challenges lay ahead. But now, holding the baby in his arms, watching it respond with intelligence and emotion, he knew that moment had changed everything. It had not only given the infant a chance to live, it had reminded humanity of its greatest strength: courage, compassion, and the drive to protect the helpless, no matter the cost. And as the stars glittered beyond the outpost windows, Ethan whispered softly one last time, "We'll face the galaxy together. No one can take you from me, little one. You're my responsibility, my hope, and my family." The baby reached up and touched his face again, making a small sound that seemed like the word "Daddy." Ethan smiled, feeling an unspoken promise between them. Whatever dangers awaited, they would face them as one. Humanity had proven itself once again, not through weapons or conquest, but through courage, compassion, and the unbreakable bond between a human and a child who had been left to die. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and mystery, but for Ethan and the baby, there was hope. Together they would survive, they would protect, and they would show the universe what it meant to be human.